Welcome to the Music Maker's Cookbook, the podcast that helps independent artists cook up recipes for success in the music industry. I'm Sean.
I'm Brandon.
And a quick question for you, Brandon.
Yes.
What is the weirdest or most interesting venue you've ever performed, worked, or did your radio station thing at?
The weirdest venue.
Yeah, or coolest, or however you want to go with it. But what's the most interesting venue you've been in? There's some pretty interesting ones out there. This is, by the way, a question that I want you guys to all respond with and message us below because I'm curious what your answers are. But Brandon,
yeah, there are some interesting ones. I would say this is so vanilla, but it's like Harpo's in Detroit. I don't know if you've ever been there.
No, I've
It's
not.
on the east side of Detroit, on Harper Ave, and it's a really old venue that is completely, totally candidly, it's completely gone to shit. It's terrible.
Oh,
awful.
is it?
It's like they did not keep up with it. It's old as shit. So many safety issues, and it's not in a great part of town. And I was there, and it just reeked of fucking cigarettes and fucking splooge, and it was in sweat, dude. It was, and then there were very interesting people there too. But it was also the type of show it was. I forgot what band it was. It was a very niche band, but one that dresses up in all the cosmetics and stuff, like Vikings or something. You know?
Okay.
And it's probably not. I think it was more of a mid-tier band. So if you're thinking like a big massive band, it's not one of those.
Like B-list?
Yeah, pretty much.
Not an A-list,
yeah,
but
like a B-list. Yeah, and it was just it was definitely an interesting experience because I was because I'm used to the Fox Theater, I'm used to Fillmore in Detroit, used to St. Andrews, which all are fantastic venues, and I love so much. I've actually been backstage with the Fillmore and then under it and everything. It was cool, but it was that was the one that stuck out the most, and I will never return to, dude. Ever in my entire life. So if you're affiliated with Harpo's, I'm so sorry, but it's time.
You've lost Brandon.
Yeah, it's time. What about you, Sean? What about you?
I've never been to any venues that probably were as interesting in terms of the people and the I don't know. I want to be nice. I want to say history.
Yes.
All the things that have happened in that building. Oh man. I've done worked some shows in some weird places. I've done a couple museums, like the Science Museum in Grand Rapids, and I've done a show at the Henry Ford Museum.
Oh, that's cool.
And in Henry Ford Museum, the band performed underneath a Boeing 737.
That's
I think.
wild.
So underneath the plane's cockpit was where the band set up and all that. And then at the Science and History Museum in Grand Rapids, the band performed underneath a giant whale skeleton hanging from the ceiling. So, performing in those locations were probably the most interesting ones.
Yeah, totally.
That I've worked at. I haven't really been to too many concerts.
Those are cool
because I work them, so I don't really need to go.
Yeah, totally.
But those are pretty cool.
That's awesome. Mine are so vanilla because I'd give you Freedom Hill. It's just not. This just is what it is. I think probably the other weird place that we were was that we were at it's not weird because it was actually a good restaurant, but it was some German restaurant in Detroit, and not even there for a specific band. It was just the house band, and we were there for some reason, and we just did the event, and it was cool though, the authentic German stuff, and the wieners and
authentic German wieners. Yes, that's what Brandon was there for.
Pretzels, stuff like that. But no, those are really cool because those are really unique. That's almost a once in a lifetime thing that you would get to do. It feels so that's really cool.
No,
that's
it
really
was
cool.
pretty new. It was pretty cool. It definitely had some different room sounds and reverbs that had to be dealt with throughout the show. So they were definitely fun to work in.
Hell yeah, dude.
That being said, let us know what weird venues you've performed in.
Yeah, dude, I'd be interested to hear. That's a good question.
Yeah,
that's a really good question.
I'm looking forward to that one. And also let us know how you promoted it, because self-promotion is something we are going to be talking about today.
Yes, sir. We sure are. Everybody's favorite and most hated topic, it seems like. It's very split. Either people love doing it or they hate doing it. And there's no middle ground. It's not like you're a lukewarm, oh, I like doing it. No, it's either you hate it or you love it. Seriously, that's what I've come across.
Such an interesting topic, yeah, because there are ways to really dive into it, but there's also a bunch of half-assed things that people do that makes them think they're promoting. On some of our episodes, we've gotten comments in promo SM.
Yep.
Which I had no idea what that was when I was getting those comments. I looked into it, and it's the whole point of it is creators will comment that on videos to get people to click on their channel.
So weird.
And it's that's not promotion.
No,
Why would you
no,
click on a
just
comment
spam.
that just says promo SM? That means nothing.
Yeah, it's
That
just
means nothing.
completely spam right there. Yeah, it's like doing the follow for a follow, you
Yeah.
know, or comment for a follow, or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, complete spam. Just
none of that-
not the way that you do it.
No, those aren't
Yeah.
actual fans. Aren't people that are going to come back to you. There's no point doing it. It just makes you feel like you're doing something. And makes
Exactly.
you feel like you've got a number.
Yep.
So, well, we were going to start off by listing
Yeah.
like 6 things that are promotion, but I guess we started off saying some things that are not promotion.
We did. We kind of grilled it a little bit, but
Yeah,
I
we
think
did.
that's where we'll start, though. I think you're right. I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. But we're actually, before we dive into some specifics, like the importance of building and maintaining promotion as an artist, as a band, as a group, as a musician is what it is. Like people need to find out about you.
Yep.
To listen to your music, to build a following, to make a career in music.
Yep.
If nobody knows who you are, you're not going to have fans. And if you don't have fans, you're not going to be able to monetize it, make money, and make a living in this industry.
Yep.
It really does all go back to promotion. And if you're an independent artist, then it is self-promotion. It is all reliant, focused on you.
Right.
And yeah, the key thing I want to circle back and say one more time is that if you don't have fans, if you are having a hard time, you're just starting off, it's probably an issue. And like you're not getting big, you're not growing. The issue isn't a quality thing, most likely, because there's a lot of really awesome music out there.
Absolutely.
It's more often an awareness thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good or bad you are. If nobody knows about you, then you can't grow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's just simple, right? And to think about, and like a lot of people don't realize that, they want to try to exist in a vacuum. They want to try to do what they do by themselves, right? And then have everybody follow along with it.
Yeah.
And that's
If you
just
build
not
it, they will
the way
come.
it works. Yeah.
No.
And that's just not the way that it works for most people. Like, sure, maybe the 0.001%, maybe it worked for them, but for the most part, you got to kind of grind it out there outside of the music, which, can be a little bit of a turnoff for some people.
Yeah. The quote is actually, if you build it, he will come, in reference to a specific thing. So this is actually a misquote that people do because it's almost never true. That doesn't work.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a complete misquote.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, moving on to that. I was just curious.
That's actually interesting. I didn't know it was from that.
Yeah, it's from, did I say the movie? I don't think I did. It's often attributed to the 1989 movie Field of Dreams, starring Kevin Costner.
That's crazy.
So the more
I didn't know it was from
da, da,
that.
da, da.
Yeah, that's really good to know.
But yeah, no, self-promotion is incredibly important to get yourself out there.
Yep.
But how do we do it? What are some ways of self-promotion? I don't know. We do know. Number one we're going to talk about is probably the most common, the most popular, and the one that just happens. This is the one that doesn't take really any effort. You can push it and get more use out of it if you are aware of it and talk to people. But
Absolutely.
this is the most passive one, and that is word to mouth and referral.
Yeah.
You make a good thing, you make a song, someone listens to it, and they're like, oh, this is really good. I think my friend would like this. Hey, friend, hear this song. Oh, yeah, I like this too. I've got a friend. And it spreads from that.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just word to mouth, people to people. At the start, it's incredibly slow.
Oh, man. Painstakingly slow.
Painstakingly slow. And in the world we live in now, with how fast you can get new songs, new forms of entertainment, it's honestly, I don't think it's as likely and powerful to happen at the start as it would be, as it was back in the day, where it's like you discovered something new, it was exciting, you could bring people in. Now there's so much stuff out there. People are more motivated and incentivized to share shared experiences so that there's that immediate connection versus the whole crowd of like, hey man, this is something new, you should check this out.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's fair. And like, honestly, this one to me is my personal favorite because a lot of this is like you rely on yourself and your art, right? And like that's really cool because like if you make really good art, then like word of mouth will happen eventually, right? As long as you're working hard at it and continue and do all this stuff. But like you said, it needs to start somewhere. This is a complete snowball effect that happens, right? And getting that snowball going, to even get it to snow in the first place, is really damn hard to do. Really, really hard, especially if you're not talking about it with anybody, right? So this one takes a lot of patience, but is extremely slow, and you can't really track it. There's no metric there. You can just kind of guess, like, yeah, this has gotten more popular, you know, over time, but like you don't know specific numbers. Maybe you know it's hard to derive those.
It's just person to person.
Yeah, it's just person to person at that point.
You don't get a notification on your phone saying Sarah just shared this with Jenny.
Exactly.
It's like no, you don't know that.
Yep, exactly.
So that is a con of it. It's unpredictable. You never know when it's going to be shared because it has to be brought up in conversation naturally in order to really have its full benefit, which when it is brought up, there is a lot of benefit. I mean, when you hear something from a friend or a mentor or someone that you trust their opinion of, it's highly credible and it's organic growth. It's person to person, like we said. So it is a very, very valuable way of promotion, but it's unpredictable. It's not consistent. Even if you put the effort in to kind of push it, saying like, hey, please share our music, show it to somebody else, invite your friends over to the next show. Like if you bring someone who's never been to a show before, we'll give you a free thing from the merch booth or whatever. Like there are things you can do to kind of incentivize it. But at its base form, if you're not doing anything extra and just relying on word of mouth, it's very, very, very slow. And it's going to take you a lot of work and a lot of going out there for it to snowball.
Exactly.
Like you said.
Yeah, very tough to do. But like I said, that one's my favorite.
Word of mouth is your favorite?
It's my favorite one. My favorite one. Next one is my least favorite one, actually. And that's outbound marketing. And that means like cold calls, cold emails. Oh my God. Awful. I would hate doing that. And like I don't think I've ever done that, in fact, because I hate it so much. You know, I'm not a phone call guy, you know, in the first place. We talked about this on the podcast before. What am I gonna get on the phone and say? You know, like what the fuck am I gonna do? And like this is a personal one for me, right? Because that's something I gotta get over.
Yeah.
But
emails count too.
Yeah, and emails are
cold
cool.
emails.
Yeah, I think I've done that a few times. Yeah. You know, so like it's not all that bad, you know. But it's like trying to balance like what is spam, what is like not spam, and what is like good sales versus what is bad sales, right? You know, so you're kind of playing, you know, you're kind of wearing a couple different hats with this one. But this can, I'm going to go back, you know, before I go on my little tangents, you know, I want to go back. Outbound marketing, basically, you know, this includes reaching out to venues, reaching out to bloggers, playlist curators.
Yeah, this is more industry to industry, not
Yep.
to directly to your fans.
Exactly.
You're not going to just go to the Yellow Pages.
Oh my
God,
like, that's impossible.
Hey, have you listened to this band today?
Exactly. Could you imagine if you do that? If somebody's done that, I want to hear your story. Please reach out to us. Yes, because that's fucking awesome.
Grab the Yellow Pages and just go through and call random people.
That is great.
Go door to door, be like, "Oh, are you Jehovah's Witness?" No, I'm here for the band. Not for Jesus, the band. Open up a CD or a vinyl record. Like, can I introduce you in the word of our band
hilarious.
today?
That is
oh,
great.
Man, that'd be a really fun promotion.
That's actually a great idea. Yeah,
thing.
that's a great idea. Write that down. That's ours.
Especially if like you're near like a college town or whatnot. Like go through from dorm to dorm and be like, can I interest you in the word of our Lord and Savior?
Yeah, that'd make a great TikTok, dude. Yeah.
Or band.
Yeah. So there you go. There's an idea. There's an idea.
Man, that would make a good TikTok, and that goes into something we're going to be talking about later, which is earned media. Anyways, outbound marketing. Man, we just got really excited real quick. Anyways, go back into pros and cons. Yes. I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. This can also be like contacting other bands. You know, if you're trying to get on a bill or something like that, or just at least just make contact with them so you guys are friendly if you ever come across each other, right? Pros. What are some pros of this? It's directive and very proactive. So like you are being productive while you're doing this, and it's very direct. So like you maintain that direct connection to somebody, and you have the email forever, you have the phone call, or you have the phone number for forever, you have the text thread for forever, whatever.
There's no pretense, there's no hope. It's I want to do this, I want you to listen to this, yes or no. Come on.
Exactly. And depending on how you catch somebody someday, or if the stars align, this can yield very quick results because it's very, like I said, very direct. You know, someone's having a great day, and the venue owner's like, "Fuck yeah, we need another band. Like, let's get you on this bill."
Yeah, why not?
Why not? You know, that can be awesome. Go ahead.
The flip side, if you're not having a good day, the cons are it can seem intrusive.
Yes.
Low response rates, especially if it's a really popular venue where they're getting hit up all the time. You have to have something in there that grabs their attention and actually wants them to look further in, which we do talk about in our EPK episode. And it can also be discouraging because it is a numbers game. You will not, if you're just doing cold outreach, they don't want you. They're not expecting you. You are showing up in front of them pitching something that they're not in the mindset, they're not necessarily open to receiving.
Yep.
So there's a high chance, even if they might like your music, that they're going to turn you down
Yep.
unless you make it fun, engaging, or in an interesting way. If
Yeah.
we talk about the joke of going from door to door.
I think that's great.
But because of this, it can be discouraging where it's like, man, I've talked to 50 different venues in the 50-mile radius, and not a single one's gotten back to us in the past week. That's a little discouraging.
Totally.
Oh man, I've sent messages to multiple different bloggers or podcast people, or gone to door to door to door, and like no one's listening to my music, or no one wants me on their show. That can be discouraging.
Yep.
Especially if you're going about it through like email instead of calling. A lot of times they can just be buried. So you're also playing the numbers game against that.
Yeah.
I think on average, like 26 emails a day is what the person gets.
Oh, really?
Daily.
Okay.
So you're already competing with a lot. So if someone's out of the office and comes back in after 3 days, 4 days, they're sorting through hundreds, like 100 emails. So yours might just get lost in the shuffle. This is a big numbers game.
Massive.
You are starting from a position of, why would I want to talk to you? I'm not expecting this. It's intrusive and I don't want it. So if they're in a good mood, it could work out great.
Yep.
If you make it engaging and fun and less intrusive, it can be great. If you tie it in with a different way of promoting, it can be great. But on its own, it's effective. It just takes a lot.
You got to do
grind.
a lot. Like I don't know any percentages off the top of my head, but I could imagine it's like maybe hearing back 10%, something like that. That seems like about right. Sean's gonna look up the statistic right now. While he's looking that up, I want to bring this up, Sean, because you made a really good point at the beginning of this number 2 outbound marketing topic. Oh, he's got it.
Between 1 and
1
2%.
and 2. My 10 was way off.
Meaning out of every 100 sales call, only 2% results in closed deals.
Massive numbers game.
But this site is now saying the average cold call rate is 4.8% based on an independent study at Cognism.
So anywhere from about 1 to 5%.
Yeah, that sounds like about
right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a numbers game. So you got to do a lot. This is everyday grind, at least 30 a day, right? Like at least, you know.
And as I mentioned, you can like kind of put this in your favor depending on what information you have at your disposal. Like if you're a DJ or whatnot, and you cold call at a frat house on a college campus, it might be closer to 5%.
Yeah, totally.
Versus if you're going to a retirement home.
Could you imagine that phone call?
That'd be so fucking dope. Just having a rave at a retirement home.
Oh my god, they might throw down.
They might. I don't even know.
You know, I want to say this too because you brought this up. This is a really good point. We're talking about reaching out to venues, bloggers, playlist curators. Sure, you brought up at the beginning. This is not directly to the listener. Have you ever gotten a message on Instagram, Facebook, something where one of your, friends or someone that you knew from high school was making music and they reached out to you directly to say, hey, check out this song? I've gotten so many of those. And I will tell you what, that is the quickest way to become spam ever, because you are providing this value from yourself, right? This is value all from you, right? For you. And you're saying, hey, check this out, right? That does not make me want to go listen to the damn song.
No.
So this can be used negatively. And what I'm really trying to say is, like, don't become spam in this way, because you will go to a spam folder at some point. Like, Google is smart enough to know when Gmail receives a spam message, right? And that obviously goes for marketing lists too, because a lot of the lists that I've signed up for go right to spam, and it's like report not spam, whatever. But this can also have a negative effect, right? So people can start talking, be like, oh yeah, I heard from that kid about 85 times. Like, I tried them out one time, had his band play here. They fucked up the venue. They were assholes or something. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, like now you're spreading word around. You're still reaching out to these people, right? But like now you have a negative connotation associated with you. So
yeah, it's a negative of word of mouth.
Yes.
And that's a separate topic.
Yeah, that's
all in a bit.
It's like it's like a word of mouth, but also like a cold call, because if somebody's heard about you at that point, right? It's
I the first part of it, where if you're like you're reaching out to past people that would be considered kind of a cold call. But then, which we're gonna dive into that further with warm and cold leads.
Totally.
So stay tuned for more marketing talk. But the whole then it's shared negative things. We have an episode all about keeping a good reputation throughout your scene.
Yep.
So you can check that out. But
totally.
That kind of like cold call of like reaching back. If you're gonna reach back to people you have a little bit of a relationship to, like, hey, check out the song or whatnot. If you do, even if it's like a small connection, if you have a little bit of a connection, don't start off with, hey, check this out.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Start off being personable. Be social.
Exactly.
Being social on social media is more profitable.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Tell a story with it, or just be like, hey, I have this. Everybody come check it out if you have the time. Like, I'd love to just share my art with you, right?
Or you
that
be
goes
like,
so much
hey,
further.
I don't know if you've been watching what I've been doing, but I've been making a lot of music lately. What
Yep.
kind of music do you like listening to? Oh, I like listening to this. Oh, cool. I got a song that kind of represents that.
so
I'd love if
much
you gave me your
further.
feedback on it since you listen to this genre or listen to this type of music a lot. You know, start with a question, lead them with an option of following up, not just check this out.
Yep. Because,
no.
yeah, I hate getting those, man. I hate it so much.
All right, so the next kind of marketing, this one, a little more odd in sort of the music industry for artists and musicians to do.
Yeah.
But something that you see all the time on the internet nowadays, affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is when you have other people promote your goods and services and then they get a cut from the profit.
Yeah.
So anytime you see, if you look up an article on the best laptops 2024 and you click on a link and you buy a laptop through them, the reason they're making those articles is because they get a kickback of like anywhere from like 2 to 10% from any purchase made.
Can be very lucrative.
Can be incredibly lucrative. So the way this is in there is if you're partnering with other artists, businesses, or influencers to promote your music, and it's like, hey, it is kind of technical because you have to make them a custom link where if somebody orders or buys your merch or your album through their link, then they get a kickback. So it can be a little harder to set up, but it could be beneficial and interesting, especially if there's people who have a large kind of audience in front of them already. You're leveraging their audience, you're leveraging their expertise and their trust with their audience in order to get people to check you out. So there's like some awesome channels on YouTube or whatnot that just review music, review albums, review artists and whatnot. If you can hit them up and say, hey, I'd love you to review my album. Also, if you like it, I have an affiliate link you could attach to your video, and you know, anybody who buys my merch or my album through your link, you'll get a kickback too. That makes it more enticing for you to get them to make content for you. I said this is a little bit of a weird one that's more used for businesses that sell physical items than it is for services, and music is kind of a service depending on how the person consumes it. If they just listen to it on Spotify or streaming, it's more of a service. You're filling in the time, making them feel good or whatever it may be. But if they're like a fan that would like really want to dive in and buy a merch or whatnot, and you have good offerings and systems in place, it can be lucrative to have other people promote you for you with no cost up front. They only get paid when they get their audience to buy certain things from you.
Yeah. And there's definitely like a threshold to this, like Sean kind of alluded to, is like you have to have some sort of following here to make this even worthwhile in the first place, and to even get signed up with in the first place.
Don't start off with this.
Yeah. You can't start off with this because it'll get denied right away, right? So
we tried
it. It's an experience.
We should try that again sometime.
We should try it again soon. Yeah. But what are some of the pros of this? Well, it expands your reach, right? Helps you build relationships with these companies, with these businesses, with whomever, right?
And with these creators,
with these
creators
as well. Yep, exactly. Which can be very, very lucrative. You know, in the end, you know,
with other artists or whatnot,
and everything. Because
so you can have even just handshake affiliate deals. Like, hey, if you get us on this, if you get us on a ticket with the show, you know, we'll give you 10% of our merch sales. Oh, sweet! I want these. I want to play shows with these guys because I get 10% of their merch booth, and I know they push their merch hard, so I would get a good amount of change.
Exactly.
That's kind of like a less online, but still an affiliate kind of setup.
Absolutely. Yep. And then on top of that is more passive promotion too. So if somebody makes a video online reviewing your album, that video is always going to be up there until it gets taken down by either the person or YouTube, right? Or you get really upset and try to DCMA them. Don't do that. That's bad. Bad. But it'll always be up there, right? So it's actually always working for you in some way, shape, or form, right? It's almost kind of like investing in a portfolio. The content is working for you with specific people that you're working with, right? Because we're going to go into content media, in a little bit, but just in terms of like who's promoting it and who made the video, right? And that your relationship with them, that can be extremely, extremely nice to have, and very good for SEO purposes as well too.
Oh yeah, because the more you're getting your name out there, the more there are links and tags and callbacks to your website, to your web I was gonna say website again, even though I just said it,
Yep.
to your digital shop. That's like more the digital aspect, but even like the actual aspect of it, the word gets around like, hey, whenever this band shares a ticket, they like share their merch. Well, I want to check out this band. Oh, they would be great on our ticket too. Let us get them on a show.
Yep.
You know, that kind of ties into word of mouth. And that's also something I do want to touch on real quickly is that none of these are entirely standalone.
Right.
In order to really be effective or to take it to the next level, you can combine 2, 3, 4 or more of these kind of marketing tactics to help. And in a certain way, they'll work with synergy to just be even more beneficial than they would be all on its own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then what are some of the cons? Is that you kind of need strategic partners in this case. And, you know, maybe even above that, because like you can partner with the wrong strategic partners in this case. You can get a mismatched audience, you know, for whatever you're trying to promote. So you're a metal musician, you go on somebody who reviews pop albums. Kind of like an identity crisis there, you know, maybe a little bit. It's not going to help. Like maybe you might get something out of it, right? But it's not going to be beneficial to them because their audience is going to be like, "What the fuck is this?" And then like that's not going to be beneficial to you because you might only trickle in a couple of people. And sure, maybe you could make the argument that you wouldn't have gotten those fans if you wouldn't have done something like that, right? But it's so far few in between that it's almost worth not doing, you know, because like you could better spend your time elsewhere, I would say, and really focus and harness your core audience and your target demographic through these partners.
Yeah, it's the time investment because this does take time to set up
exactly
and pre-plan because as I mentioned, if you're going to make it work automatically digitally, you have to have a specific link for them to use. It takes them to a certain set of your website that tracks the sales specific for them. And that takes time to set up, and that takes money to set up if you're hiring someone to do it or whatnot. And if you're not going to get a return and they're not going to get a return, it just looks bad for both parties.
Exactly. I do want to say this too, because we see this a lot on YouTube is like a lot of YouTube creators, I should say, is that there's also the possibility of partnering with the wrong person and the wrong company. And what I mean by that is they do something really shitty or it's a scam or something along the lines of that. And if you're, you know, buddy with them and doing some affiliate marketing together, like that can also really tarnish your brand real quickly. So you really have to do your homework and be careful with who you trust and who you kind of partner with affiliate marketing. Just want to put that out there. And it also, you got to also be very transparent with your affiliate marketing, because if you don't tell anybody that you're making money off the links and somebody finds out, that could be really bad too. And that's pretty shady, you know? So like any review,
paid promotion, affiliate, that's legal. It has to be disclosed.
Exactly. So. Exactly. Yeah. And like any review that you see of like, you know, you buy the new iPhone or maybe not iPhone because Apple, I don't think does that, but
I'm sure they have an affiliate program.
Do they really?
Most do. It's like
because like I don't think
$1 trillion.
I don't think Apple sends phones to people specifically though. You know what I'm saying? Like that just doesn't seem like an Apple thing to me. But like let's say like I mean I'm looking for new studio monitors, right?
Yeah.
And I was looking up this Adam audio review yesterday, and the guy was like, they sent these to me. This is not like 100% like, you know, sponsored, but like they did send them to me 2 reviews, so I have to, you know, tell you.
Yeah, I'm disclosing that this is I didn't buy this.
You have to do that. So don't be a snake. Don't be bad. Make sure you're transparent. Responsibility.
Moving on from affiliate marketing to the 4th type of 6 of methods of self-promotion. It is owned media.
Yes.
So now we're going to get into different kinds of media. That's what the next 3 of them are. These are the ones that everyone are more commonly thought of, which is why we kind of saved them for the last 3 because we can talk and dive more in. But owned media is specifically media that you own, that you have control over, the distribution channels and how people get in contact with it and what information you have from these people. So the biggest one is email. If you have an email newsletter or a personal website or a music website where you have a band website where they can sign up and have an account or become members of your website, or they sign up for direct messaging, like direct line of communication through text messages or things like that. If you have a list that gives you direct contact to the people who are on the list, that is owned media. Because even if, you know, certain things go down, you have this information where you can directly contact these people. It's not like social media, which is unowned media. If they change their rules, you can lose your account. They could go down, run out of like declare bankruptcy.
Yep.
So like when X goes down, everyone's gonna lose their following.
Yep.
We'll see if this ages poorly.
Sean's betting on the future right now.
It's gonna take a while, but I think it'll happen. Yeah, and the perks of it is that you own it. You're in control of it. If you want to tell people that, hey, I've got a new album coming out, you can create a new email newsletter or news blast, put it out there, and everyone who signed up for it will get that newsletter. May go in spam. Hopefully it won't.
Yeah.
But they will get it.
Yep.
And you can do it again and again, and you know that it goes to everybody who signed up for every email that you have, versus if you make a post on like Facebook, your band account or whatnot, only like 10 to 20% of the people who follow you are going to see it in their feed, which isn't great.
Yeah.
So it's direct communication, direct engagement, full control, and it's cost effective. There's a lot of pros to this.
Absolutely. It's probably one of the best ways to do it, honestly, because it's like being, it's like you said, it's owning your list, but it's like also not being invasive at the same time, but also being able to maintain contact frequently without being invasive. If that makes sense, right? Because there's that buffer kind of between you, but you still get the information there that you need, or the sales that you kind of need, you know, the sales pitch or whatever your marketing is for. I mean, in this case, it'd be like, oh, new album, or we did a new vlog on tour, right? Or something like that. That would be really cool. Some cons though, requires consistent management. Sean, that's a lot of work, dude.
It is. You have pretty consistently quarterly or whatnot have to update, go through your email list, clear it out, get rid of like dead emails, or you have to create new things to put out to your people on your list. New newsletters, new promotional things,
It's tough.
new reminders. There are things you can do, like you can automate the first like 5, 10, 15, 20 emails. So whenever somebody signs up, they go through a specific set of emails that prep them to maybe get gear from you or pre-save your album or whatever it may be. So that's back to the con of control, but this takes a lot of time.
Yes, and care.
Yeah. Also, emails, they're not people don't guard them strongly,
right?
But they don't give them away willy-nilly.
That's so true, especially today, where it's
Yeah.
getting, I think, a little bit more difficult to kind of get like more information out of people online. You know,
because everyone knows they're going to get spammed.
Yeah, exactly.
So like if I give out my email all the time, I'm just going to get more and more emails, and it's just going to be overwhelming. I'm not going to see the things that I want to see, or I'm going to miss things. So you really have to have a reason for people to want to give that to you, which leads into more specific thing once you get into marketing of what like lead magnets and lead funnels and things like that. We'll briefly talk about that after we cover the full 6 of these things, but this one is the most important. This one ties the most directly to having a strong lead funnel or a lead magnet that goes through the funnel. And in fact, this can be part of your funnel, which once again, business terms, we're going to break that down after we covered all 6 of these things. So we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. But yeah, it just takes a lot of work and pre-planning.
And then on top of that, it also takes a lot of time too, because you got to build that audience, and you have to have some kind of avenue to that audience, to the funnel, right? And this all takes time to amass a decent amount of following to make this really, really worth it for you. But I'd argue on day one, it's worth it. You know, just start cultivating that audience and have things prepped and lined up and good with your good branding with you, you know, and everything, and really take your time with this. And like Sean alluded to, it is a lot of work, but it's definitely rewarding work. So definitely take the time to do this. And if you don't want to do it, then you got to hire somebody to do it for you, right? Yes. So there's that, you know, cost time kind of thing. So that's up to you to decide whether or not you want somebody to do that specifically.
Yep. Speaking of paying, that's number 5.
What a transition.
Paid media.
Yes, sir.
What is paid media?
Oh, it's basically anything that you pay for.
No shit. What is media? What is paid media? Oh, it's media you paid for. It's you just flipped the word, man.
I know. It's the best definition. No, I'm just kidding. Man. It's like social media ads, Google AdSense, not ads, but Google not AdSense, Google Ads, and then YouTube promotions. I'm trying to think about anything else.
Banner
Magazine,
ads,
yeah. I mean, if anybody
radio
still does
spots,
that, exactly. Yep.
Things that you are paying,
commercials.
things that you are putting forth money to get it directly in front of
Mm-hmm.
people. This could even be considered paying to get put on playlists, or paying to get interviewed, or have people write articles on you for their magazine or their blog post or whatnot. It is exchanging money for a promotional service. Money. I don't know why I said it like that, but I did.
Like it. It's gonna be a new thing now.
And it is the first of the two ways that you can directly pay for promotional material to be made for you or by you. But yeah, the first one is money. Second one is time. This is money.
Yes.
The cost of getting stuff in front of people. So the pros, immediate reach.
Oh,
when
right
you
away.
pay money, it goes directly to where you want it to go, and especially if the place you're putting money into, like Facebook or Google, has a robust ad campaign, a robust ad platform that can specifically dial into, oh, you want your product to only go in front of pregnant women? Cool. We will only put it in front of pregnant women, even if they don't know they're pregnant, which is something that happens.
That's wild to me.
They know, they have so much detail on people that there are women who will get advertisement for like baby clothes before they realize they're pregnant.
That's actually crazy.
So
that seems legal some way.
Yeah,
seriously, like that's crazy to think about.
So you could, if you use it right, and this is the con, there's a large learning curve on how to do this properly.
Yes.
But once you do, you can put your music and your merch in front of the people who would most benefit or most interested in what you are putting forth.
Yeah.
So it's extremely targeted audience. Plus, it's extremely scalable.
Yes.
Everyone is online on these platforms. If you're doing paid marketing on digital platforms, all I have to do is say, okay, cool. Well, when I put $100 in this month, I got pretty good results from it. Like, good amount of people responded to it, and it's exactly who my target audience is. So next month, I'm just going to put $1,000 in and keep those settings the same, and it's going to promote to 10 times the amount of people that it did for the $100.
Yep.
So it's easy to say, cool, this worked. More. More.
Yeah.
You just got to be careful because you got to make sure that you're making enough from the return
to make it worth it.
in order to make it worth it. Yeah.
And guess what? At first, you probably won't. You're gonna take like an immediate loss, and that's almost guaranteed, unless you're some kind of marketing god. In that case, reach out to us. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll hire you.
But no, seriously, if you are a marketing guy, please reach out to us. But it is super expensive though, because like Sean said, like you could throw $100 at it, but $100 is not gonna compete with people that are spending $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to get in front of you first, right? Because now it's a rat race. Now you're going to be throwing money at the wall to try to make it stick, right? Yeah. But that's why it's important to get so niche with who your target demographic is and figure that out. So that way you can go in front of those people right away, and you don't have to waste time doing that, right? But this also requires an ongoing budget. You're gonna have to budget for this constantly if you keep doing this, which is more than doable as long as you're making a return. But if you're taking a significant loss and you're not making anything back on it, then you have to like kind of step back and reach out to somebody that knows how to do this, right? And then that costs money, right? So
and there are plenty of companies out there that know what they're
they
doing.
will tell you what they know.
Yes.
Yep. And in fact, you are their target demographic right now. If you're looking for somebody, because they know, and they will tell you that they know, and they are shoving that in front of your face with so much money right now. And then you'll go reach out to them; they'd have no fucking clue what they're doing. Yeah. So you got to be careful.
Or no guaranteed results when not. There are like anything out there. There are great companies that will promote you, get you in front of your target audience. They do know what they're doing.
Yep.
And there are plenty of businesses that don't. The music industry can be a very predatory industry,
very much
where they
so.
go after new artists that don't necessarily have that knowledge, that foundation of knowing what's legit and what's not. This is especially true in places like Nashville.
Oh yeah.
There are some phenomenal companies, musicians,
So
promoters, producers in that area.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that say they know what they want to do, but they just want to take your money and make a quick buck off of artists that come in for a couple months, spend all their savings, and then they have to move out because they can't afford to be there anymore. Yep. We both know artists that this has happened to.
Absolutely.
And we both know artists that have paid for something that they just never got a return on.
Yep.
Because what they promised was not what they delivered. So it takes a lot of research, which is another one of the cons, takes a lot of research.
Yes, it does.
To look into what company, what people are going to give me the best results. So even when you say like, I don't want to learn this all myself, I don't want to take all the time that is going to and spend the money and fail to learn, I'm going to just go hire someone to do it. Well, you still might be, but it's not as easy as that.
Yeah. Yeah. If this is one of those things where it's like, if it seems too good to be true, it is. 100% of the time. So, and I'm glad that we're talking about this one. The potential low engagement without good content is our last con right here. And you see this a lot on Instagram, and it's very predatory with hip hop, and like more specifically, you'll get so much spam in your inbox, right? But you'll get people that are saying, "Hey, pay me this much, I'll promote you here." And I've seen decently big names doing this, but like, believe it or not, like actual like established decently sized artists doing this, and you'll pay them $500 to get one post on social media. Well, guess what? The only metric that you're getting out of that is seeing how many likes you got on there and comments, and that's it. You might see a couple people visit your profile, maybe a follower or two, right? But like, you're gonna be throwing money at the wind. And like, this is also paid content, but this is a very shady way of doing paid. And I've been on phone calls with people that have been like, is this real or not? Like, let's call them at least, you know. I've been in the room and like, dude, like, it's shady as fuck. So you can get taken advantage of really quickly, and please be careful when you're doing it. Because like I said, this one, I want to talk about this one story real quick.
Go for it. Tell the story, man.
Shout out to Caleb and Dre. They're my boys, man. And we were on this phone call one time during a session. He was like, oh, this guy's saying like, if I send him like a couple $100 or whatever, he'll promote me. And then, but he'll send me equipment, you know, to help record music. I was like, all right, like, that's interesting. We get on this phone call. This guy, it's like a video call, dark room, you know, of course, like, you couldn't see anything on the video call. A very low voice, like, yeah, bro, like, we'll just do this for you, bro. You know, we'll send you the whatever, we'll send you the equipment. Of course, that means an address, right? And that's starting to get like, all right, like, there's doxing involved possibly, you know, or whatever. And it's like, dude, yeah, no, we gotta hang up. Like, this is getting really weird, because they were gonna send him like an interface, a mic or something. It was weird, dude. I was like, bro, you gotta block this guy. This guy's fucking bullshitting you right now. Like, and we were just kind of curious. We all kind of knew that was bullshit, but we were like, let's do it. Fuck it. Like,
what's the perk of that?
No idea. No clue. But
we'll send you an interface and a microphone.
Right, but like, what he was asking for was way more than what the interface costed and the mic, you know, and everything. So I assumed that it was something like along the lines of that, like people not knowing what the worth was, and then the promo after that he would do for you.
Gotcha.
Terrible. So you can get taken advantage of really quick, and like, this is all part of it, right?
Yeah, there's some weird stuff out there. For
and
sure.
like, that's the niche, weird, underground, dark web kind of vibe, you know. So
dark web.
I know.
Oh boy.
Just wanted to say that. So hopefully that was interesting to everybody and entertaining.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
You mentioned that story to me before.
Yeah.
And it's just always just so weird to me that that's a thing that, like,
I don't know.
There's no upside to it. But people do it because
it sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good. Like, oh, they must know what they're doing. Especially if they have like a couple, like some numbers that show like, oh, they've got like 50,000 people following them.
Like
that
a
means
bot account or something.
Exactly. You never know what they have or how they got their following. There's things you can do to protect yourself. We talked about in a couple other episodes, like checking their engagement, on not just their number count, and things like that. So, careful.
Very
after
careful.
it. Paid media takes a long time to learn. Takes a lot of money to get it done right.
Absolutely.
But when it is done right, there are some amazing
benefits. Benefits.
Speaking of something else that takes a long time to get growing, we talked about paying in money for promotion. Now we're talking about paying in time for promotion, which is what we're doing right here. This is the big one for us. It's earned media, also known as content creation. So it's putting out content that is entertaining, it is valuable, it is informative, whatever it may be.
Not us.
Why?
It was a joke.
Why?
It was the perfect time. It was the perfect time.
We are entirely valuable.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.
Yes.
But why? No, I'm just kidding. But yes, it's putting out content that is entertaining or educational that gets people who are part of the target audience to come in, to listen, to engage, to leave comments, to interact, to subscribe, to follow. That builds up a following of people to then later down the line spend money with you, be it go to a show, buy your music, buy your merch, or whatnot. It is the lowest barrier to entry out of all of these, because it does just take time, and you can start with all of the tools that you have at your disposal if you just have a smartphone. Which 99% of people do, unless you're a drug dealer, I guess.
There could also be monetary value in that.
Moving on. But yeah, so
don't do it. That's bad. Don't do that.
It is very bad.
Yeah.
Off the rails. That's where we are now. Anyways, the pros to this is it builds credibility. If you put yourself on consistency, you put yourself out there as some sort of an expert on whatever subject you're talking about. It positions you in a way that builds a positive relationship to your fan base and people who watch you. Especially if you do it for a long, long time. It's like, oh man, they have 65 episodes of this podcast coming out. They must know a good amount about what it takes to make it in the music industry, and have done some research and know a couple of cool things about.
It's an oddly specific example.
It is a very specific example. I wonder why. Anyways, it's also fully organic, which means that the people who jump on are usually people who want to be there and have value. So it is your target audience, your target fan base who want to listen to it. You're not going to get people, if you're a punk band, you're not going to get people who love sugar pop to necessarily follow you and engage with you, because that's not who it is. But if you get people who like punk music to follow you, that's who you want to listen, and that's who you want to promote to when you do have a new album or new merch or new things. Also, there are algorithms based around these. All of these earned media lives on content platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all these things, and they want to keep people on their platform. So if you're making good content that has high engagement to the people who you want to have high engagement with, they're going to be like, hey, this works. Let's show it to more of these people who fit this demographic, who fit these certain specific likes of music and are in this niche. So when it does go, it just explodes. It takes a long time, but when it does go, it's very... not linear, what's it called?
Exponential.
Exponential. That's the word. Thank you, smart Brandon.
Oh, wow.
It's also cost effective except for time.
Yes, absolutely. And like Sean said, it's the lowest barrier to entry. This is like my second favorite one, I think, because like anybody can do this one, right? What was I about to say? Lowest barrier to entry, which is really nice. And so there's not like a huge technical leap that you need to do. There's not like anything that you really need to learn. You just need to major in your majors in this one. Like anything that you're knowledgeable, right, you can share with. Couple of the cons, though, and because there are cons associated with this, it's super time consuming, as Sean just said, very time consuming. And there are no guaranteed results, and there's really no easy way of doing it, right? You got to put in the work. Like, it's just, you have to do it, right?
Because you will suck when you start.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which also can be demoralizing.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, if you watch the first 2, 3, 4 videos that you do, oh my God, I like, it would just be like, I can't do this. Like, I'm just an idiot, right? Like, you can be very down on yourself, and that can also like feed into other things too. It's like, I'm no good at anything. Fuck everything, right? So
yeah, watch the first episode of our podcast. Just Brandon rocking in the chair the whole time.
Dude, don't put me in a chair that I can rock in, because I will do it the entire time. I swear to God, I swear.
And for some reason, I put the camera low, so just like full on pasty thigh.
Dude, I know, because it was like late March, early April or something, and like it was a hot day. I remember that, and it was like very, very not good, very pasty, very pasty. So now we sit with a table, so you can't see our pasty thighs.
Exactly. And then we switched to the white casting couch, so that was fun. But it's a long process. You're gonna fail a lot. You're gonna do research. But it is very rewarding, because not only can you see the results through people engaging over time, not only does it build a back catalog for people who do find you later down the road, who are interested to go in and consume more of your content, to immediately become larger fans because they familiarize themselves with you. You can also visually or auditorily see the progress that you are making.
Absolutely. And not only that, but like when you start teaching stuff, right? Like you know the content better too. And so like your expertise on the subject too is it's greatly increased at that point, right?
I feel like that was said specifically for us because we're more educational.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I was just kind of riffing.
If you're a band, you're probably not teaching things.
That is true, unless like you're teaching like how to like change your strings or why this amp's better than this amp, right? Like let's say
if you want to sell
have
a
some
course,
affiliate marketing going on,
that's
right?
true.
So like you're affiliated with Orange amps, right? And you're like, oh, why do I like the Tiny Terror versus the Orange Crush or something like that? Like very niche specific stuff that would work really well, and like it kind of demonstrates that you're an expert in the field, So like Sean said, like all these are all entangled somehow, right?
Yeah.
And you can blend the lines and blur the lines all you want, and make these work for you, and that's what you should do.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't just stick to one versus another just because of something, a barrier somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So
find what's interesting to you, figure out ways you can combine them and mold them, or if you start one of them, just dive into it and see where the next step leads.
Absolutely.
Because if you want to start with content creation and you start making stuff that's very fun or interesting, like short form music videos or long form music videos, or live stream talking about your album or doing listening parties or whatnot, that could lead into word of mouth.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, cool. Well, I'm having make a video like, well, I'm having a listening party next week. So here's the link to it. Bring a friend.
Exactly.
If you bring a friend, have some sort of incentive or whatnot to help grow your fan base or whatnot.
Exactly.
So they do go again and again and again. Also, all of these, if you really want to run them effectively, check out our 5-part series on influence.
I love that series, dude.
I do too.
I think we point back to it almost every fucking episode.
It's a good foundation.
It really is. It's all encompassing.
So definitely check out that if you want to take one of these and really dive deeper to do it effectively and use things like scarcity or authority to help really be more effective in your promotion of it, to capitalize more on whatever method you're choosing to use.
Absolutely.
All right. So those are the 6 marketing styles. Real quick, before we dive into the next thing that we've written down, we don't have it written down, but I do want to talk about what a lead funnel is, or a lead magnet is, and what a funnel is. A lead magnet is something that you are offering the person that you are promoting to that is valuable to them, that encourages them to take the next step. Something that we do on this podcast quite often. For example, when we had our episode about being productive in the studio, Brandon has a phenomenal studio preparation guide that he's created. We tagged it into the link we put the link in the comment of that podcast episode, so you can just go in and click on it and download the resource. And if you are looking to go into a studio anytime soon, it is very valuable and beneficial for you to do that. And if you're going into a studio anytime soon, you're our target audience, because we run studios.
Exactly.
And also we do artist development. So not only is it valuable, like, hey, if you want to record, you could record with us, but even after you record, if you then want to get it in front of people and learn more about the industry, you can also contact us.
Exactly.
So that is a valuable lead magnet for who we are trying to go after.
It's a nice even exchange.
So you can think about, okay, well, it might be valuable for somebody who is a fan of mine. It could be, hey, if you buy a shirt, you enter a raffle to do a meet and greet with us. Or even before that, hey, pre-save the album and you'll get a download link to our demos. So you can not only hear the professional release, you can hear the rough release. If someone's a fan of you, that's really interesting.
That is.
And it doesn't cost them anything. Or even just a email list, or even just a social post where you're promoting it or whatnot of, hey, if you want to hear our demos, click this link. They'll give you their email address. That adds them into your email list, which you own. That's what a lead magnet is. It's just something that's valuable to your target audience that gets them in the door. Now, once they get in the door, now you're starting the funnel. And what it is it's just a broad thing, which starts with the lead magnet, and that captures your lead audience's attention and then narrows it down into whatever task you want them to do, which may be buy tickets, buy merch, whatever it may be. This is where the email campaign really shows its strengths, because when set up through like a MailChimp or something, you can select exactly what emails you want to go out in what order. So, hey, thank you for downloading our set list for the show. Can be the first email, like thanking them for signing up and all that. The next email can be like, hey, we've got this thing coming out next, or hey, check out this video that we posted. You might like it. It's a live video of the show that you were at. Re-download the set list from.
Yeah, it's killer.
And it just narrows down to building interest, and then finally, hey, buy some merch. That leads you to the final point where they are now spending money that is helping support you as an artist. That's kind of what it is in a broad sense and
Very
just
well
a quick example of it.
Yeah.
But I just felt like it was really important to just
It's extremely
briefly
important. Yeah.
tackle what that is.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah. Well defined, sir. Well defined.
Because for all of these, you are going to want to have a lead magnet that you've created to really take advantage of it. Even simple things like earned media, where it's content creation, the video itself, if it's meant to be entertaining, that's a lead magnet where it's like, hey, you're going to be entertained by this. If you like it, then you found it valuable, you got what you wanted out of it, subscribe for more.
Yep.
And subscribe is the next part of the funnel because it gets them to watch more of your videos, listen to more of your songs, which makes them into bigger fans, which gets them to eventually potentially support you down the line.
Exactly.
Yeah. Continuing from leads, we have things that are called warm leads and cold leads. And this is the last thing we're going to be talking about today.
Yes.
Honestly, because this episode is kind of getting long. And now we've talked about the basic ways you can self-promote. This is really getting in the weeds. But warm leads and cold leads, it's just whether somebody is familiar with you at the start or they're completely unfamiliar with you at the start. Warm lead is somebody that is aware of you and what you do. A cold lead is somebody who is not.
Yep. Yeah. Family, friends, coworkers, name it. Right. That's your warm lead, right? Somebody that you meet off the street. If you're cold emailing and doing all that good stuff and you've never talked before, that's cold, right? Yeah. And it's significantly harder to do cold stuff, but may not be the hardest to convert, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, because like I feel sometimes there's that barrier with warm leads, right? Where it's like, yeah, of course I support you. And then it's like, how do you convert that without being like super salesy and still being like warm, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's definitely a stark difference between the both, but both are valuable in their own ways. And I don't mean valuable in like, we're going to take advantage of one or the other or anything like that. When I say that, I'm not always trying to be a sneaky shark, you know, like, but right,
sneaky shark.
But just in general, both have their you know importance of nurturing either one, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But both are different in their own way.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't explain anything right there.
Oh man, no, but you did though, because like a warm audience is the people who are already familiar with you.
Yes.
So there is already a starting point.
Yes.
Depending on exactly what that relationship is, it may be harder to get them to dive in deeper.
Yep.
Because just because they know you doesn't mean that they are who your fan base is.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to go back to the punk example. If you're a punk band, you know your grandparents, they love you. You love them. They may or may not be fans of punk music.
It's true.
So just because they're part of your home audience doesn't mean that they're a beneficial person to go after, or doesn't mean they'll give you a result that you're looking for.
Yeah. Because like your warm, I'll just say your warm audience, right? Your I'm not trying to say lead. But your warm market. Sure, whatever.
Yeah,
sure,
that works.
It might be very populated, right? With a lot of people, you might know a lot of people. That's great. But the people that are qualified to be fans of you or to invest in whatever you're doing, right, is a different story, right? You might have like 5 people out of your 200 people, right? Yeah. So it could be a staggeringly low number, and that's what you need to decide. You know, is like who's actually qualified to do this, who is not, and obviously family members, they can support from afar. Since we're talking about grandma and grandpa, they can support from afar. Be like, that's my little Johnny up there. He's the guitarist. I don't know what kind of music he plays because I don't listen to it, but I love him. You know, and that's great. There's a lot of value in that too, right? Especially emotional value. You're like, that's awesome. But we're kind of talking about more monetary and kind of converting fans,
making a living in the industry. So as you mentioned, I'm glad you brought up that even within a warm market, there are qualified and unqualified leads within that market. So it's not only just look at, hey, these are the people I know. Also look at, hey, these are the people within those people that may actually be interested in what I'm doing, which goes back to the whole cold call thing we brought up of people messaging all their old high school friends from Facebook or Instagram or whatnot and be like, hey, come to my show. It's like, well, they might not be qualified.
Exactly.
Save time, put in some effort and do that. And if you do reach out specifically to the qualified warm market, that helps warm them up even more to become, you know, hot leads.
Blazing hot.
Cheetos. Where they are now fully engaged in what you're doing. And the same thing is true with cold leads. If they don't know you at all, but you want to get them to become warm leads, I guess you're going into a group or a forum or making social content that then you pay to promote, to put in front of people who aren't familiar with you. best way to warm them up is to offer value first
Mm-hmm.
and to kind of personalize the outreach. If you can make whatever you are putting in front of them specific towards them, they're more likely to engage in it and be more warmed up to the idea of you because you're putting them first.
Yeah.
We are all the protagonists of our own stories.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say, look at me, I'm the show. Hey, look at you, you would enjoy my show.
Right.
Put that ownership and that importance on them, and that is a way to get them to start to be more open to the idea of listening to your music, coming to your show, buying your merch, and going down that funnel.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because like I would argue that you have a decent amount of cold leads at a show, right? If you're not headlining the show and they're not there for you, like they're somewhat warm because they're there, right? Like that's just kind of like how it starts to warm, right? But like if you have like a cold lead at a show, right? And you just walk up to someone, you say, "Hey, my name's this, blah blah blah. What's your name?" And you start talking. Like that's probably one of the best ways to warm up a lead really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
But albeit it's very time consuming, and you have to be in person to do it, right? And we kind of harped on the doing it over the phone, doing it over email, right? But there are different ways to nurture these into warm leads, right? So like Sean just said. So I just want to put that out there because that's one of my favorite ways to do it is just to meet in person, you know? Anybody that hits me up to record, you know, full disclosure, there gets to be a point when we're texting, I'm like, I have no more questions for you. I'm like, the next step is just to meet. Like, because then I will think of infinitely more questions just based off of what you're telling me in the studio and how you're reacting, you know? And then we take it from there. And that's one of the best. And it's still a cold lead up till almost the point that they come over and then we leave, right? Like at a certain point it changes, right? So I just want to put that out there because that's one of my favorite ways to do it. So a little tip right there, you know? So like everybody's differently. Everyone's different, of course, you know, but definitely one of my favorite ways to do it for sure.
Oh yeah, and especially if you're sharing it, and I like that you brought up sharing a ticket with another band or a couple other bands at a show and going up to their fans, introducing yourself to their fans. Yeah, that is one of the best things you can do, especially if the show promoter put together a show that all the bands relate to each other. Introduce yourself, be friendly, talk to people you don't know or you never met, and say like, yeah, you know, like, who are you here for? Oh man, I love playing with these guys. Opening right before them. I'd love it if you checked out our set, but I mean, definitely stick around. I mean, obviously you're here for them, but they're killer. What's your favorite song of theirs? Like, ask them questions, be engaging with them to build a rapport. And it's like, oh yeah, I like this guy. I'll stick around, listen to a song. Yeah. And then they're more like, oh, I like his music because I like the guy. You know, we had a good conversation. And then they have a story to tell their friends, and that aids into word of mouth where it's like, hey man, I went to the show last week. Yeah, the opening band was really solid. In fact, the guy, the singer talked to me for about, a couple of minutes, and like, he was a really cool guy. That just builds good name within the scene that you are in. And it is one of the best ways, especially when you're starting off, to get that ball rolling, to build kind of your reputation within the scene.
Yep, totally, man. I love that way. Because like that opens up the whole communities then, and it's one of the things that I realized last year that I've never done before. So that's why I'm kind of harping on it a lot, because it's something I learned last year when I started going to a lot more shows and everything. It was like, dude, I'm just meeting all sorts of people that are just so fucking cool, and like now I feel like I'm a part of the community, and then that's gonna be us for Tuesday, because we have a cool event coming up that we'll maybe talk about a little bit, eventually. But I'll be able to meet a lot of cool people on Tuesday and just being like, oh, dude, this is fucking awesome, and we're all friends, and it just just explodes from there. It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So there are fun ways to do this, So if you've made it this far through the episode and you were like, this is boring as fuck, but I love Sean and Brandon so much, I'm gonna stay and help them out. Well, I appreciate you, because like there is fun in this. And I would argue like a lot of it is fun. Oh yeah. But I get if you're a musician, you just want to play A and C and D chords. I'm there. I'm not even demeaning you, because I play those on guitar all the time. That's why I'm allowed to say it. Damn it. So I'm just saying right now, if that's what you want to do, just be creative. You can be creative while you're doing all this stuff too.
All right. Well, I think we're done now. Nothing against what you were just saying. Very entertaining.
Thank you.
And true. But we literally have written double what we've talked about so far.
Yes.
For this big episode. So it's becoming a two-parter.
Yep.
If you want to dive more into like promotion and self-promotion and whatnot, definitely check out the next episode. We're going to be talking about how to get comfortable with promoting yourself. Because self-promotion can be kind of an anxious, stressful thing to do, because you're basically putting yourself full front in front of a crowd of people who probably don't know you and saying, look at me.
Yep, I'm interesting.
Yeah, check out my music. It's valuable to you. I'm offering you value.
Yep.
And it can be scary. You're like, well crap, are these people going to like me? Are they not going to like me? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And especially with music, since it is so personal and subjective, it's incredibly, it can be incredibly nerve-wracking and hard to do.
Yeah.
So this next episode, we're going to be talking about, hey, this is how to do it.
Yep.
How do you become more comfortable with it? So we'd appreciate if you stick around for that. But with that being said, it's been over an hour at this point.
This is definitely quite a topic. Yeah. And we kind of figured this was going to be a two-parter anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I think we even ended a little earlier than we even anticipated too, with where we're at now.
Oh yeah. No,
we were long. We were long today. We
long. Like talking to each other.
We do.
It's odd.
It's kind of cute.
So that being said, if you want to learn more about what Brandon offers, he's got an amazing website you can check out at
studio222recording.com. Sean, you're so generous, sir. You can find everything that I do there. I do all recording, mixing, mastering services for really any type of genre. I love audio, so just hit me up if you have any audio projects that you are interested in working together on. You can fill out an inquiry request form at the bottom of my website. You can also find me on social medias at Brandon McLeod. At _Brandon McLeod on all platforms minus X. Clearly, Sean does not like X. I'm kind of with him there, I think. Yeah, it's kind of mid. My personal opinion only. Please don't sue me. And
it's not engaging to me.
It's not me neither.
It's like a fake forum.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I'll just go to a forum.
I'd rather just go to Reddit or something, at that point. Like, whatever. And then you can also find me at Studio222 Recording on all platforms, but it takes me a really long time to respond on there. So if you want to get in direct contact with me, go to my website. Sean, what about you? Where can we find more about you?
You can find out more about me at my website, swsrecordings.com.
It's a nice website.
Yes. Not as nice as Brandon. He just updated his picture of his new studio. It looks nice.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. But you can check me out at SWS Recordings. I do remote mixing and mastering for folk, rock, and acoustic music. Also, if you're in the area, I do those genres in my studio as well. But a large part of what I do is remote work. I also do a one-on-one artist development coaching. So basically what this podcast is, but more specific towards you.
Yes.
Tackling the problems you're having, putting together a playbook and a structure for what you can be doing next to help improve your career, and having accountability and checkups on your progress so far. So if you really want to take this serious, you can hit me up there to have that kind of one-on-one development coaching with it. Speaking of coaching and artist development, if you want to know more about this podcast, you can follow us on different social media platforms. We do have a YouTube account, TikTok account, Instagram account, which I need to start posting on more, but this is my busy season and I've not been good at doing that.
Sean has been busy boy.
I will be better moving forward. Probably September, we'll be getting back to daily posts. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So definitely you can find us out there for specific content, new content, and more easier to consume content. You can also message us at podcast@musicmakerscookbook.com. Give us feedback. Tell us what your story is for the venue that you've been to that was most interesting. Also, let us know what topics you'd like us to cover in the future, because if you help us help you, that just makes everything better.
That's right.
So, with that all being said, I'm cooked.
I'm cooked too.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us in our kitchen, and until next episode,
Bon appetit.